Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show and a big match preview live that has a little bit of a slight twist tonight. Normally we have a group of Leeds fans in situ, but of course I had to speak to arguably outside of Ed Sheeran, the most famous Ipswich Town fan on the planet. Someone said does better music than Ed Sheeran, to be fair, Ben. But yeah, look, it's a pleasure and an honour to welcome back Benjamin Bloom, of course. There's a lot of love in the chat for Ben, as is always the case. And I know a lot of you go on over and watch his stuff after the fact and stuff. So it's great to see. But Benjamin, how are you, mate? And Merry Christmas to you and the family, man.
Yeah, it's just Merry Christmas, isn't it? Say hi to all your lovely folks, and then nothing else really to talk about, is there, between Leeds and Ipswich, Joe, is there?
No, yeah, that's done. I have a confession to make as well, Ben. Obviously, I like to do watch-alongs of games that have a Leeds United interest to them. And last week I was banging the drum for the Canaries.
Oh, and
I don't know if you can see in the in the background. I actually just put a little nugget in there while I was doing it that I've not I've not put back in the fridge yet. I mean, I don't think I should eat that. So yeah, but I'll move that just for you, mate. I'll get rid of it.
What did you make of it? It was a great game, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good game. I was really impressed. I don't know how you saw this, right? But I didn't think Johnny Rowe was that great until he scored his goals. That was just my opinion.
He had 4 touches in our box.
Yeah, right. Okay,
but isn't that just a sign of a big player, isn't it? Yes. It's like the guy on the North Bank who used to shout at Ian Wright, "Oi, Righty, can you contribute more? All you do is score."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because to be honest, when Onel Hernandez came on, and then they were talking about the stick he'd be giving, or at least building the fixture up. I was going, oh, he's going to win this for a minute. He's going to win this, but he didn't really get involved at all, did he? So, but a great game, mate. To be honest, I was doing the watch along and I was saying, do you know what? I really like Burns. I said, he's really efficient. He's not amazing, but he's just efficient. And then bang, he went and scored almost instantly after. So I think Leeds fans still go along with this narrative that Ipswich are not that good. They're just amazingly coached. Their players are not that great. They're just amazingly coached. However, having seen you a few times now, you do have some very good players within that squad, right, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, if you put the positive spin on it, I'll definitely take they're amazingly coached. I think we all agree with that. And Daniel Farke said as much in his presser yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah.
Look, you just talked about Wes Burns. 70 grand from Fleetwood, you know. So, yeah, of course, all 3 of the Year 1 parachute teams, Leeds, Southampton, and Leicester, have got better players than Ipswich. But the pattern of play and the muscle memory from, you know, the 6 months, and I say this with all love, that Southampton, Leeds, and Leicester spent losing in the Premier League, Ipswich were winning for. And that does count for something, but as I'm sure you're going to point out, as you get into the second time of playing each other, then things get figured out. And Joe, how about this as well? We're not even at the halfway mark. And unless, God forbid, we meet in those lovely knockout competitions, Ipswich and Leeds are done after tomorrow.
Yeah, no. And you've not even played Leicester yet, have you? You've not even played them, which is weird.
Yeah.
What a trio of games. I don't know who you've got after Leicester, but to have Norwich,
thank God.
Yeah, well, you've got Norwich, your biggest rivals. You then go to Welland Road, and is the Ipswich game at Portman Road or Leicester game? Sorry, or is it at their place?
Leicester game's at Portman Road,
right? Okay.
And then so we got 2 back to back. But I mean, yeah, and I mean, Joe, I remember last time we spoke, we tacked on before that. We had Middlesbrough away and Watford away, which is 2 Year 2 parachute teams, to go into the Norwich game. So this hateful 8 that we were calling it, I said, look, any lead over Leeds at the end of this, I'll take. And it's currently 10 points. So
wow.
It's gone really, really well.
Yeah, it has. To the annoyance of us, of course. You'll have seen the tweet that you retweeted that a lot of the Ipswich fans found.
Come on, Joe. I've got to retweet.
Oh, 100%.
Come
yeah,
on.
Of course. I think a lot of people took it the wrong way. It was meant as like a light-hearted jibe, and you know what social media is like. It's like
this was literally. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
1 second of it. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, because like I've noticed now as well. I got Leicester fans clipping up my reaction to Birmingham. Their first goal against Birmingham, where Birmingham were all over them, and then they went up the end and scored. And I was like, and I lost my shit. But people are like annoyed that I'm celebrating the opponent's team's chances and stuff. And I'm like, well, of course, because I want you to lose because we need to be in the top two. But it means people are watching, Ben. So that's all good. So keep watching, folks. Keep watching. Listen, out of them two games then, because I've not really prepared anything because it just flows when we chat then. But out of the two games, Leicester and Leeds, which one are you most concerned about? Is it Leicester or is it thinking just keep Leeds away from us?
It's so difficult, Joe, because what happens in the first game completely sets the context for what's going to happen in the second game. So if by some ungodly kind of series of events, we can get a win at at Elland Road, it's just a bloody party against Leicester. It's like, who cares what happens now? We take the 3 points back if we assume you're going to beat Preston on Boxing Day early doors. So it's just a bizarre situation to be in because I just, you come up from League One, you do not imagine you're going to be anywhere near Leicester, Leeds or Southampton, let alone 10 points ahead. And that is also with Leeds, who are you 1 point off 2 points per game? You've got 42 from 20. So you're 2 points off. So you're having a good season and we're still got the big lead. So it's difficult, Joe, because you get these people, and I don't think they're being intellectually honest when they say, oh, it doesn't matter. If you'd have told us we'd be 7 points ahead of Leeds at this point. But the context is everything now. So if we can go to you and not lose, and it's 10 points, although I'm sure you're a student of this, you've got your eye on Southampton with a 14-game undefeated streak and no top six opponents, or one top six opponent until the last 10 games. So, let's just concentrate on the first game and try not to lose, right?
Yeah, no, you bang on. I've been trying to like keep Southampton out of my mind. I'm just like top two. I'm trying to chase them down, but as soon as they leapfrog us, I'll be like, all right, okay, now I'll properly concentrate on them. But you make a great point about that because I said in my preview, I did a pre-record earlier on, and I said, listen, if we beat Ipswich, the rhetoric will be mind the gap, Leeds fans, but ultimately it will hurt because it then sets the cat amongst the pigeons, if you like. Because if you were then to get beat by Leicester or drop points again, and then I think what I will say for Leeds United is I think, and this hasn't been the general rhetoric within the fan base, Ben. I don't know if you've seen it of late, because I know you keep eyes on Championship and stuff, but there's a lot of annoyance with Farke. And it's almost like it's his fault.
Why?
Well, honestly, I know, right? So it's almost like because you two are doing so well, he should be doing better. And I don't know what more we can do.
No,
really.
Joe, that's absolute nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have, I mean, look, what you've got to accept from Leeds' point of view is that. So if Leeds had 44 points from 22 games, you would say, really well done, 2 points per game, right? Yeah. If Ipswich had 20 points fewer than they had, you'd say, oh, Ipswich are going well. They're 10 points off 2 points per game. But the fact is they're way, way above it. So it's not Leeds that are doing the strange things here. It's Leicester. And obviously Leicester you can understand slightly more, but still the points total is ungodly. But if I'm a Leeds fan and I'm chasing and I'm looking at, just take Leicester in isolation. With that squad, with 24 games to go, and they've already got 55 points, you're kind of saying, how are they not going to get promoted? Do you know what I mean? Whereas Ipswich have obviously come up from League One, there's that chance that it could turn the other way, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And do you see? For me, we've got the best man for the job as well, because I look back at previous seasons and at the turn of the year, and you look at his Norwich sides when they did get promoted. They went on long winning runs. They went on long undefeated runs, and I'm hoping maybe I think we're dying for a left back. We really need a left back. Spence not really
played
working
left back
there.
in the last game, right?
Yeah, last three, I think.
How's he been?
It's not been great. Not great going the other way, defending, if I'm being totally honest, which is his job. He likes to get forward a lot. But I also think as well, because him and Somerville are both, I know Byram's right-footed, but he's more of a left back. Spence doesn't have a left foot, it seems. So I would argue, I would sooner him go, right, Spence, you go at right back and Gray go at left back, but I don't think he's going to do that. I even said in my preview, won't mind Firpo there, and I can't stand the lad. I just want a little bit more balance, because
round peg in a round hole.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I
I don't know. We need a left back. Byram's been amazing, but he can't stay fit, so we've got to get a left back in there. We need a number 10 as well, because the thing is, we just can't seem to break down low blocks. There were a few Leeds fans, I don't go along with that sentiment, but I'm interested to find out what you think, that because Leeds have a blueprint to getting beat or stopping via this low block, do you envisage McKenna coming and putting men behind the ball and do it? He's not going to do it. He's going to come and win, right?
Not. No.
Yeah.
No, they're just not. They're just not going to do.
No.
I would be flabbergasted. I know that probably works well for Leeds, but it's just Ipswich are a little bit more pragmatic away from home than at home.
Yeah.
But that doesn't look anything like a low block, Joe.
No, because they were, but there's a blueprint now, so Kieran McKenna's a good coach, he'll follow that blueprint. But it's like Bielsa always used to say, if you start chopping and changing your ideas, the players then lose belief in what you're telling them. So I think it will be all out from Ipswich. Like you say, maybe a little bit more pragmatic. But does the undefeated Elland Road form worry you a little bit, Ben? Like, what's your thoughts going into it?
I mean, even if you weren't undefeated at Elland Road, it's Elland Road, isn't it? And as much as I love this Ipswich team, okay, they did go to Sunderland and win with 40,000 people in there. Sunderland's pretty fierce, but Elland Road's on a different level, isn't it? So even if it wasn't undefeated, I suppose we're kind of pleased that Coventry stopped the winning streak. But as you've just pointed out, Joe, it's irrelevant, because Ipswich aren't going to play how Coventry played, are they? So it's going to be far different than that. But it's just a great game for like that chat you've just put up. It's a great game. We hope they don't cancel each other out and the two managers are just trying to outthink each other, and it's dull. But in theory, it should be fantastic. But no, of course, it can. The one thing we hope is, and you know this only too well, Joe, Elland Road can be the 12th man, but it can also be the lead boots on your players sometimes, can't it? You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, for sure. I was thinking about this other day, just based on what Klopp said. And look, I've not been to Elland Road this season, so I don't know if I can comment, but what's conveyed through the medium of the TV and from what my friends say who still go regularly, the atmosphere seems to have dropped this season. Now, I was putting that down to an expectancy, because Leeds are going into games expecting to win, and it's a case of the fans are just waiting for that eventual goal to come. But then, based on what Klopp had said about Liverpool and that, and then I went into deeper thinking of saying, are just all football grounds now becoming watered down? I don't know. That's probably another chat for another day, Ben. But do you think Klopp has? I mean, to be honest, I think the Liverpool atmosphere is a bit of a myth anyway. After the initial you'll never walk alone, it sort of goes quite quiet unless it's a big Champions League night. But obviously 12:30 kickoff, Ben. What's your record sort of been in them fixtures? Sometimes you can have like a little hoodoo on them, or hasn't it mattered for you? Because I know midweek games for us under the lights were always terrible.
Mate, it's not like me to be cocky, but we've got 52 points in 22 games, so you can't find any kind of hoodoo about any. Well, apart from that, you've beaten us already once this season,
Yes.
but that came up in conversation, Joe. And I know your commenters are going to say, "Come on, Ben, you're having a selective memory here." But that game was such a freak show of a game, wasn't it? Where all of a sudden, Sinistera and Nonto were back, and Pirro made his debut, and there were 3 goals in 10 minutes. You had 2 horrendous mistakes for 2 of our goals. Yeah. We missed a load of other chances. We had Cody Drummer's ridiculous be subbed on, then be subbed off again by half time. And then we scored a 97th minute goal, and there was 7 goals in the game. And if I'm doing analysis on Leeds, that's kind of the last game I'm looking at for solid information. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, see, when I talk about that game, I thought we were the better side, and because I've had Ipswich fans, because I said on that game, yeah, there were goals in quick succession, but I do remember the errors that led to your goals, and like you've mentioned, the Cody Drama disaster class at left back, and I felt the game Leeds should have won, and on another day it could have been 4-1. Do you know what I mean? Just based on
Joe, it's just such a weird game, isn't it? So you can make that argument, and then I can make another 5 arguments that are equally as reasonable as that one. I kind of came away thinking that your front line, in fact, that opinion has stood me in good stead, because even though Sinistera and Nonto have gone out, it's 49 goal contributions from your boys, James and Ritter, Somerville and Piru. Yeah, so that bit of it has stayed, that you are heavily, heavily stacked in the front area of the pitch. But honestly, if I'm looking for patterns and stuff, I'm not really finding them in. Other than, I suppose, we've had a few high-scoring games at home, but none of them have gone that way, where you just completely destroyed us for 10 minutes, didn't you? I'll tell you what you did do. You're the one team, because we play kind of lopsided to get Leif Davis forward. You're the one team that completely ripped us down the other side, which is the open side with Harry Clark. So, and that hasn't really happened again since, to be fair. So we'll see if they try quick switches of play over to the right to do that again tomorrow.
It will be interesting, because that's another reason why, for me, I think if we were to play Spence at right back with Dan James, it really puts pressure on Leif Davis with the spacing behind him as well, because he does like to play really high, right? A lot of it goes through him. He's got the most assists in the league.
If you look at his heat map, he just doesn't look like a defender at all, does he?
Yeah, no, exactly. So there is a case. The one thing as well, like I've noticed in recent games with Rutter when he's leading the line, when he's come up against like Ballard at Sunderland and also Kitchen and stuff at Coventry, lads that have got a little bit of height, a little bit of, stature to them, he struggled. And I look at Wolfenden and Burgess, especially Wolfenden. He's a bit of a shithouse, isn't he, Ben, to be fair? That's what I've noticed anyway, especially in that Norwich game as well, that they could get joy in dealing with Rutter, to be fair. And he's had a few quite quiet games of late. I don't know what I can really...
I love to watch.
Oh, he's brilliant.
He's a great player,
he's brilliant. Yeah. No, he is fantastic. But I think the big issue, and maybe you can shed some light on it, is Pirro, because you'll have seen a lot more of him than I have when he was at Swansea. And I know he didn't play as an archetypal number 9 there, but in some games, he just looks a little bit lost. I've been speaking to Norwich fans about it, because of the mad thing was, we spoke to a Norwich fan from Canary Cast, and all these issues that we put together, not changing the squad, the subs at the 70th minute, they were all the same under Daniel Farke at Norwich.
Well, Norwich were winning the title twice, yeah?
Yeah.
First world problems there, Joe, yeah.
True. That is true. But what do you make to that Pirro thing? Do you think you would have done better at this stage, Ben?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, I loved the rant in the press conference that Farke did. I thought that was... That was this is football heritage moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think the thing that does for Pirro more than the starting position is the way you guys attack, because he's used to Swansea building up so slowly. And if you look at Leeds at their best under Farke, it's vertical and you just rip teams open, don't you? Just right down the middle. And you look at the start of the goal, and if you paused it, you'd go, they do well to score through this. pass around the corner, someone sprints straight through the middle, perfect pass, someone takes someone on, and you 1v1, and you're like, sorry, how did they get from there to there in 3 actions? So maybe that's a bit different for him. But look, I respect Daniel Farke, and I'm not going to argue with the 10-minute rant, which, as he was saying it, I was going, okay, fair point. Fair point. Fair point. You know more about me than that. So I'll go with that for now.
Yeah, for sure. I know what you mean when he said Pookie, top goal scorer. And then he mentioned all these other players, top goal scorer. And I was like, all right, okay, yeah. But he does make great points, because it's like we drop points and everyone says Ampadu's not fit or played too much. And, you know, it's like the Coventry game. I think what it is, Leeds fans, so like, I know if we drop points tomorrow, it's going to be like, oh, God, it's worse than anything and all that sort of stuff. And I'm still pretty like, try to be objective about it, because ultimately you and Leicester are an anomaly. This isn't the norm. You know, exactly. This isn't the norm. And in a normal
can I just chip in there? We were saying the same thing last season in the top of League One, where Sheffield Wednesday missed with 96 points. And if you score 96 points and don't get automatic, you have not had a bad season.
No.
You just have to have humility enough to say, Jesus Christ, we got 96 points and we're third. You know, wrong place, wrong time. Let's go and win the playoffs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's talk about Ipswich for a little bit, Ben. Like I said, I've been really, really impressed. Broadhead's class. I really like Burns. We all know about Leif Davis as well. You've got decent players all over the pitch. Who would you mark down as the key danger men for this one?
Well, this is the silly thing, is that I'm like a real fangirl for Nathan Broadhead. It sounds like you are as well.
Yeah, he was
and
good,
I'm on the Blue Monday podcast, which I host. We're getting people going, "Oh, Broadhead, he's not quite himself at the moment." And I think he's the top scorer and in double. I mean, he's nowhere near any of your guys with Somerville for the goal contributions, but he's the one that in a tight game can, you know, play the through ball or smash a shot in from the edge of the box. But I said it before, Joe, it's the pattern of play. You know, our parachute payment this year is Kieran McKenna and his pattern of play. That's the only way we're anywhere near you guys at the top. And it was so flattering to hear someone of Daniel Farke's stand-in say, "Oh, they play in a unique and special way," because, you know, he'll know better than you and I exactly what they're doing. So yeah, look, you know about Davis, and the team's set up to get him forward. Broadhead can make things happen. Hurst is really important, Joe, because he's just got to run, and he's the one player in the team where he has to do a bit of grunt work rather than stand there and play pretty patterns. Morsey's been fantastic, and thank God he's been on 9 yellow cards for about...
Mate, we were sat there last week going, get a yellow card, get a yellow card.
Well, Joe, funnily enough, in that Norwich game, the ref let an early tackle by Ashley Barnes go. And if he books him for that, he then has to book Morsey about 25 minutes later. And he would then be missing for this game against Leeds and the one against Leicester as well, which would have been pretty disastrous. But no, the team's been really well balanced. Just perform. You're not scoring that amount of points and jumping from second in League One to second in the Championship without the whole thing functioning really, really nicely. So as much as I'm a Broadhead fanboy, sounds like you are a bit too, Joe. It's just been a sort of terrific effort. The only dilemma, if it even is that at right back we got Brandon Williams, and it looked like he'd got the position maybe a couple of months ago. Now Harry Clark's taken it back. So I'd imagine the team you saw against Norwich, unless he does something cute and puts Axel Tuanzebe, who you would have seen for Villa a few years ago, in, I think it might well be unchanged.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know you had Tuanzebe, to be honest. Was that or was that permanent loan, is it? Or
so he came in on a free because he's had horrible injury issues. And do you remember what Spurs used to do with Ledley King and Villa with Paul McGrath?
Oh, right.
Where you just play a game, rest, play a game. And to be fair, he's played a few games and had a cigar on for most of them. So, and our lad Burgess is going with Australia to the Asia Cup. So he's going to play all in January, pretty much.
What about Luongo as well? Because was the chat of him potentially going as well?
He's retired.
He came out and said, I'm staying, right?
Yeah, he's just retired from international football. So as much as that's a big decision for him, it's fantastic for us. So, you would think, although we've got this ridiculous situation, Joe, where McKenna normally rotates in the middle of a 3-game week, but the middle game's against Leicester. So you can't rotate against Leicester, can you? So we'll see what happens there.
That seems to be the general irk with Leeds fans as well, that we're seeing Ipswich make 5 changes and still go out and play as well and still get 3 points, whereas Daniel Farke has been adverse to any changes. I think the last time he changed it was Stoke. He made wholesale changes, about 4 or 5, and we got beat. And then since then, it's not as if it's almost like he doesn't trust the squad or them that are on the bench. So that has been a general frustration, especially when the levels drop, because we have seen in some games the levels drop from certain personnel.
Can I stand up for him again? He's only had his squad in since September in terms of getting his pattern of play. McKenna's been in 2 years, hasn't he?
Yeah. No, mate, if only you were a Leeds fan and you could bring this logical
I bloody love Leeds, but not tomorrow.
Yeah. Because I try and say this, and I end up arguing with my friends in the comments. But yeah, it is what it is. This is football at the end of the day, innit? We've all got opinions. Some are just better than others. But I know it's. I guess it's an easy one for you to answer, say that front four. But who's the key men that you worry from a Leeds United perspective? Because I do think Clark, for me, out of that back four, is the one that I look at and don't think he's nowhere near the rest of them, if I'm honest. In the
Somerville's side, is it?
It is, yeah. So I think that's where I would hope. But then again, Nonto played really well. He came off the bench, and Daniel Farke has been asking these questions, or being asked questions about the squad and use of it, and he did say players need to come on and show that they deserve a place. And Nonto, for me, did that last time out. Now, you can't put him in for James because James has been phenomenal, and I thought he defended really well against Coventry as well. I just think, is there a case of saying, right, can we move Somerville central and put Nonto on the left potentially? Because him and Somerville dovetailed really well. So that'd be one that might be worth considering, and I'd love to see Nonto start, but I would argue he'll probably go with the same lineup. But Somerville, you mentioned him, he's been phenomenal this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I can't necessarily explain it. There's a weird pattern with Farke's teams where not a lot of the threat comes from the central 10, to be honest.
Yeah,
it was always Buendia and Hernandez, you mentioned him earlier, and then sort of Todd Cantwell in the second season they got promoted. And I remember they had Marco Stiepermann, who was just a big German unit who just kind of stood in the number 10 position and joined things together. So I wouldn't be keen I'd like to see it from an Ipswich fan point of view, but I don't think you'd see Farke move Somerville inside because it's the kind of half space, isn't it, where all your good goals sort of come from, don't they? So, but in terms of threat, I mean, it does sound over simplistic, but sometimes things are simplistic because they're bloody true, Joe. If you've got front four that's got 49 goal contributions and you're coming up round 23, you know what the threat is. And I think the thing that really exemplifies that point is look below those guys. That's all your goals and all your assists, isn't it?
Yeah.
All from that front four. They're just and I think Leicester have got a better squad than everybody. There's probably an argument Southampton have got more good players than you have spread about the squad. But in terms of the goals, Leeds have got the best attacking roster in the league, haven't they?
Yeah, I would say so. I think if Keenan Dewsbury Hall wasn't in the division this season, I think we'd be hearing about Somerville a hell of a lot more. But Dewsbury Hall seems to be grabbing all the headlines. But it'll be interesting to see come the end of the season because Somerville's flying. I just think his overall goal contributions in terms of goals and assists will be head and shoulders, I think, come the end of the season. But we'll have to wait and see. Are you expecting to do anything in January? Because that's another thing Leeds United fans seem to cling on to, Ben, is this notion that Ipswich won't be as busy as we are, and therefore, we can catch them that route. Will you splash the cash, do you think?
I'll answer that question in a minute. When I fire it back to you, did Mr. Farke not say January would be quiet for Leeds? Or is that just him BSing?
I don't know if he's. I mean, he's probably not BSing because he has been pretty honest, but I do think we will get key players in key positions. So I do think we'll get a left back, and I do think we'll get a specialist number 10. They tried to get one in the summer with Amire, and I just think that's what we're lacking. A Buendia, if you like. We don't have that.
No,
like
dude.
this is. But someone like that, Pablo Hernandez, someone like that who can unlock the door, because we're just struggling to break down low blocks. So yeah, I do think we'll be active. We'll be active.
Just before I answer again, is there any danger some mid-level in Premier League team wants to test for one of your big stars, or a European team maybe?
I don't think the club will sell. I mean, ultimately in the summer, they had approaches for Somerville, from Burnley. I think they had approaches from Dortmund for
and
Rutter.
Everyone takes the mick when you're in the Championship with low bids. Yeah,
exactly. So the fact that they said no, that I don't even think Nonto will go anywhere either, and a lot think he will, just because he hasn't played many minutes. But there's talk of him now changing his agent as well and potentially signing a deal. So I think we'll keep the core group together. I wouldn't be adverse to letting, say, Joffrey go out on a loan, but apparently Farke wants him around. So we'll have to wait and see. He did come off the bench against Coventry. First time we've seen him in a long time. Creswell's another one that I feel sorry for him. Yeah, he signed a long-term deal and then has not been given any minutes. So again, I don't think they'll let him go though, because if they did, it means they'd need to replace him with another centre-back, just as having a body there just in case, I think I think we'd all like to see the end of Bamford, if I'm being totally honest. But
bless him.
I know. I do feel bad, but he comes on the pitch and ends up tackling himself at times. It's all in there for him, I think, Ben. He's not a bad player. I won't have it said that he is. It's all in there. And I look at clubs like a Rotherham, a Sheff Wednesday, or clubs that might need, because Rotherham playing with Hugo, for example, Bamford's better than that, So, but would he go there? I'm not too sure, but yeah, that's Leeds in a nutshell. What about Ipswich? Are you worried about losing anyone?
I mean, you have to be a bit, don't you? It's that, look, the manager's the big thing, but we park that to one side. Joe, we're in and I'm trying to not to hype this up. We're in a once in a generation chance this January window, and I know you want your club to run sensibly and not make silly gambles, but there's a point, Joe, where you're sitting there with more than 50 points at the halfway mark, and you will literally never have a better chance to get to the Premier League. So part of me says, no, keep moving steadily and sensibly. But the other part of me says, if you don't at least roll the dice a little bit, even if it's bringing someone in on, like you guys did pretty smartly with some loans with big, bonuses for promotion. And I'm sure Ben White got a nice payday, didn't he, when you guys got,
sure.
And that doesn't count on the FFP either, does it? So they've got to roll the dice. You cannot give a League One squad this responsibility. They deliver and put you in this plum position, and then expect them to go on through the second half of the season. And we haven't really lost any players to injury yet. And I would love to see them at least go for it. And look, if Leif Davis even half does what he's done in the first half of the season and the second half of the season, you can sell him for a boatload of money at the end of the season and pay back whatever you've done. So I'd love to see them. Our transfer record is for an Italian goalkeeper in 2001 before we went into administration. So it's been a while, Joe.
Yeah, it's nice, but you're right. I mean, Leeds fans know all too well under Bates, when we didn't back Grayson, we end up out of the playoffs. With even at Leeds United, we had a look last night. We did a video, and in January of 21 and 22, we spent 0. And we're now in the Championship. Do you know what I mean? The last January, we went mad, but that was because we were trying to save our season. Whereas if you do it in little increment gains, then you don't have to be in that position. So, I think you're right. As a football fan, it's like, you can't stand still, because if you stand still, you just go backwards. It is what it is, and you have to constantly constantly moves. So I think the key one is McKenna, isn't it? I was half hoping that Ten Hag would have got sacked and they'd have gone, Kieran, will you come and be, interim till end of season and then take the job if you do well? Is there any worries like from Ipswich fans about McKenna?
Oh, well, the problem is, Joe, you get emotional answers rather than sensible answers, and the emotional answer is no, he's not going anywhere. No, he'll never leave us. Whereas the sensible answer is, come on, you can't think the whole world is not looking at this manager who's powered his way to the second position in the Championship. I'm hopeful now that it's got so far that it would take Man United or Tottenham or something, some club that's just so much bigger than us, that would to get him out before the end of the season. So you'd hope we keep him, for this to see it through. And as I always say to Ipswich fans, you can't sit there out of this side of your mouth and say he's amazing, he's the best manager, youngest, whatever. And then out your other side of the mouth say, well, no one's going to be interested in taking him and he's not going to be interested in going. He just, that's, sometimes you have to accept the world as it is, Joe, not how you want 100%. It to be.
Yeah. No, of course you do. But I do think there is a case for him staying put because you're so close to Premier League, You're guaranteed, guaranteed's maybe the wrong word, but you're going to get top 6 at least. Now, I think,
it'd have to be the biggest disaster.
Exactly.
What is it normally for top 6, Joe? About 75? So
yeah, I think so.
We need to be dropping off like 70% to what we've done so far. And the great thing now, and this is where it gets really scary as an Ipswich fan, if we do one more run where we win 6 out of 8 games, that sort of run you're talking about, we don't need that many more points. Do you know what I mean? It's bits and bobs where you can get them everywhere else. So that's why you're right to not underestimate this 52 and 55 that Ipswich and Leicester have got already.
It's wild. It is wild. I think I was looking at the best ever Championship starts, and at the top after round 21 was Reading, and then it's Leicester and you. Do you know what I mean? And then under that it's Wolves under Nuno, and then I think Newcastle, Rafa Benitez. So these are the type of teams and coaches that you're beating currently. As a Leeds fan, obviously, I hope it doesn't continue. But I think if, like you've said, at the end of the season, then we'll all hold our hands up. I even think a lot of Leeds fans now are sort of like saying, do you know what? They deserve it, which is tough, obviously. But you can't really, it's like saying you can't say fairer than that. They're putting teams away. It's just frustrating as a fan watching it, seeing you go behind and then 80th minute, they're back in front, that's football though, right? That's why we love it, isn't it?
And Joe, that's the price for League One players and an adventurous style. You mentioned Wolves. They had bloody 4 champions. They had Neves, Jota, Bolly, right through the middle of their team. That was a freak show of a team, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was arguably one of the best, I think. How do you envisage the game going then tomorrow, Ben? What? Because I think it is going to be. There's going to be goals. Leeds United haven't kept a clean sheet at home in 6, I believe. And Ipswich, we know, will concede, but will also score. I'm convinced it's. My head's telling me 2 apiece. It's telling me 2 apiece.
I've got this horrible scenario where we go 2 down, where you score in the early knock-ins of it, and the crowd's up, and we just go under. And so I had it as 2-1 Leeds, and then we come out fighting in the second half and get it back to 2-1. Sounds like you and I are not too far apart. The whole thing just depends on the first half, the crowd, the Leeds front 4. I think someone was saying it in the chat, and they're right. This is a ridiculous thing about what Ipswich are doing, that on paper, Leeds get it right with their squad in their home stadium. They should win the game, shouldn't they? But we're on a good run, and you've had a bit of a sticky week, haven't you? So I do think we would struggle to come from behind in this one, and I would worry if we went 1 down, we would go 2 down. So I'll be very boring. I've gone 2-1 Leeds on Blue Monday. Hopefully that's not me just playing reverse psychology with my own brain. You get to the point where you don't even know whether you're doing it to yourself, do you? You've overthought it so much. But yeah, I think first goal wins possibly, doesn't it? What do you think?
Yeah. No, yeah, potentially, mate. But I do think there will be goals. I'm so excited for the fixture. But like that Leicester game, and again, the Leicester game, I don't really rate Leicester and the football that they play. I don't enjoy watching them. This one I'm really looking forward to from an aesthetics point of view. But I think it's one of them, I just don't know which way it will go. I go into the majority of games thinking Leeds United will win this. Leeds United have everything at their, disposal to win this. I was worried about Sunderland. It's a tough place to go. I was worried about Rotherham. Again, a tough place to go at the time. But the majority of games, especially at home, I'm like, 3 points in the bag, nothing to worry about. But this one, I just don't know how to call it. So I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Do you know what I mean? Like you were saying, I just don't know. I just don't want to lose. And I just don't want to lose. Because even if we draw, right, it's as you were. That's okay. That's okay, right? We're still at 10 points. They've got to go to Leicester. We're away at Preston, who are losing currently to Swansea 2-1, last-minute goal by Swansea. So they're not in a great run at all, Preston, after that initial start. So I think we go there on Boxing Day and beat Preston. I'm not concerned about that. But, yeah, we've just cannot lose. And hopefully we won't.
And Joe, there's almost some comfort in that once that whistle goes, unless it is playoffs together, we're done.
True.
It's like you do your thing, we'll do our thing for the rest of the season. We'll see where we all end up. But I've got to reiterate, for us to even be and this is not me, trying to reverse psychology, but you would have had us 20 points behind Leeds with most sensible. You'd have had you around the 90-point mark, and if we were anywhere near 70, so. It's just a brilliant position to be in. But now we're there, the expectations go with it, don't they?
And there's a different type of pressure to that as well in there. There is a different type of pressure to that as well that comes with it. That maybe the but this is the point I keep thinking. Sheffield United have just scored against Villa, by the way. At Villa
Are they leading?
Park. Yeah, 1-0 on the 88th minute.
No way.
Yeah. What's Villa have won like 15 on the spin, I think.
At home. Mental.
That's
someone
Chris
just put in the
Wilder.
chat as well.
Yeah. Cameron Archer.
Archer.
Wow. Against his old club, right? Brilliant.
Yes, they sold him last year.
Yeah, they did. Wow. I bet he's buzzing with that. Wow. I'm fuming. Like, say I had a bet on 3 homes, Bristol City won, Swansea won, and then.
Mate.
Brutal. Exactly. What's going on
Christmas.
There? Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking as it's there, I'm thinking Villa will win that. I'm thinking Christmas spends. Nah, it's gone. Thank you, Chris Wilder. Well, Ben, it's been a great chat as always, mate. I think we've covered it all. Is there anything else you want to add?
No. What I would love the 2 fan bases to be able to do after this is just talk with respect and humility towards the other for the remainder of the season. Yes. And we understand the size of Leeds and what they've done in their history. And if we could just get a little bit back of that, we literally were in League One last season, and that if we lose a game, we're not having a wobble. We were in League One last season and we got 50 odd points. So that's all I would say to your wonderful fan base. But I understand you're all behind your team, and you're looking at that comment of the day, Alison, in there. But yeah, look, it's going to be great. It's Elland Road, and I'd just like to point out that my co-host on the Championship check-in, Sam Parkin, scored twice at Elland Road in a muggy Ipswich smash and grab where we had about 2 penalty box entries and somehow won the game back about 20 years ago, and we retweeted the goals there.
Oh, nice. Reminiscing about that. Hopefully, Ben, when I speak to you again, I'll be reminiscing about a famous win at Elland Road that saw the juggernaut of Leeds as Farke just continue this run that's seen us win the league. That's the hope, but we'll wait and see. Listen, folks, Benjamin Bloom's channel is in the title of the video, so all you need to do is click it, and I'll take you straight through to his channel. So please do go on over and subscribe over there if you haven't already. You probably already have, and show some love. And like you say, keep it pleasant as always. I'll be back in the morning. So I'm doing a watch along of the game, and for whatever reason, I've decided to do Rotherham Leicester as well, as though there's any hope that Rotherham will beat.
You're a glutton
Leicester.
for it, Joe.
I am. It's got to be done, hasn't it? It's got to be done. But yeah, thanks as always for watching, folks. If I don't see you, have an amazing Christmas. But hopefully, I will see you tomorrow. Nice, bright and early.
Joe, sorry, really quickly.
Yes.
Can I just plug? I'll be at Ipswich Leicester on Tuesday. Is it Boxing Day Tuesday? I don't even know what day of the week it is. Yeah. So if you do want to take on your two closest rivals, check out my vlog from that one, if that's okay to plug, Joe.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. So the great thing is I'll be doing a watch along, so you can watch the game, and then afterwards you can see Ben's thoughts.
Yeah, we'll put it up the next morning, so you can get all Joe's sweary potty mouth out of your brain by that point.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how I want that one to go. I genuinely don't. Like, I guess they have a second to lose, right? That's the thing.
If you beat us, you can't lose in that game because someone's dropping points. So
yeah, true.
Yeah, it's all about this first game, isn't it? Thank you for all the people saying nice stuff, and Merry Christmas to all your watchers and all the Leeds fan base. You're a bit of a mental lot, but we do love having you in the Championship because it certainly perks things up, the amount of eyeballs and sort of intensity you guys bring to everything.
Definitely, and it's great to have you on the channel as well, Ben. That's the best thing about the Championship is Benjamin Bloom.
Stop it.
Facts.
and right, winning some games, right?
Yeah, we will leave it there, folks. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye now.